In a city vibrant with ambition and dreams, a brave heart like Ji-yoon's was expected to shine bright, yet she stood on the precipice of despair as the weight of advanced leukemia crushed her spirit. Just 3 months. That's all the time her doctor had given her. Unwilling to let her diagnosis define her, Ji-eun fought fiercely to keep her job in the unforgiving world of corporate ambitions, where her colleagues Min-ji and Seo-jun eyed her with envy, eager to unravel the fabric of her success. The hustle and bustle of the office were drowned out by whispers of discontent, fueling the flames of her daily struggles. As the days blurred together in an amalgam of chemotherapy appointments and office politics, Ji-eun leaned into her work, believing that if only she thrived in her career, her fight against the illness would not seem so daunting. Yet, it felt like she was battling demons on 2 fronts, cancer within her and sabotage around her. Min-ji, with her perfect facade, feigned sympathy while plotting Ji-eun's professional demise, whispering falsehoods to their boss. Seo-jun, with his smarmy charm, would stand by, undercutting Ji-eun's ideas just as she began believing in them. The duo acted as dark clouds, looming over her sunny disposition. One unremarkable Tuesday, facing a particularly hostile exchange with her colleagues, Ji-eun stepped outside for a breath of fresh air, her heart feeling heavier than ever. It was then she spotted Jun-ho, a powerful CEO, standing at the edge of a building, appearing to contemplate a leap. Panic surged through her as she rushed forward, shouting for him to stop. Her heart raced, not just from fear of losing him, but from the unexpected tenderness of wanting to save a life, any life, in that moment. Jun-ho turned, startled by the fierce determination in her eyes, just as she reached him, taking his arm to pull him back from the brink. That small act of courage was a surprising twist in both their lives. "What would you do if you had only 3 months left?" she asked, breathless and raw, no longer thinking of her own fears, but rather of his. The shared fragility of their situations connected them in an unspoken bond that neither could resist. Jun-ho, captivated not just by her bravery, but by the underlying vulnerability she hid beneath her determined facade, vowed to support her not only in her fight against her illness, but also against the corporate treachery surrounding her. Working late into the night, Ji-eun and Jun-ho uncovered a corruption scheme woven into the fabric of their company, unraveling deceit alongside Ji-eun's health complications. Together, they found solace and strength in each other's vulnerabilities. As they continued to uncover the web of lies, Ji-eun's fear pressed ever closer, threatening to drown her joy. During those moments of sharing laughter amidst their investigations, Jun-ho seized his chance. He confessed his feelings, his voice strong yet laced with urgency. "I want to be here with you, every step of the way," he said, their eyes meeting with a soft intensity. But as Ji-eun's health faltered, their fragile happiness became laced with grief. The office buzzed with speculation about her frequent absences, and in a climactic meeting, she confronted Min-ji and Seo-jun face to face, revealing her diagnosis before the boardroom cringed in silence. "I will not be silenced by your envy," she declared, her voice steady despite the tremor of her heart. The confrontation fractured the office dynamics, leaving her enemies rattled and her own spirit renewed, if only momentarily. Days turned into nights, and as Jun-ho held her frail hand, he proposed with raw vulnerability, offering her a chance to redefine the time they had left. Their wedding was a small, intimate affair, a sanctuary in the storm, wrapped in love and tinged with impending sorrow. Ji-eun looked dazzling despite her frailty, surrounded by whispers of hope and shadowed by the knowledge of her condition. They exchanged vows under a canopy of cherry blossoms, her promise to hold on to love and life for as long as she could, every heartbeat a cherished moment. In the end, as Ji-eun's battle reached its harrowing conclusion, she slipped away, leaving the world far too soon. Jun-ho, utterly devastated, cradled her memory in his heart, reminded of the laughter and love they shared. Yet, amidst the pain, a flicker of resilience sprang forth. He continued their fight, honored their legacy, by setting foundations to help others transition through their own hardships, and in doing so, Ji-eun's spirit lingered brightly in his actions. In a world that had seemed so dark, a thread of hope persisted, forged by love, courage, and the determination to never forget. As Junho stood beneath the cherry blooms, he whispered to the wind, "You taught me how to fight, Ji-eun." And the petals danced around him like her embrace, carrying forward their shared dreams, reminding him that though love can be fleeting, its impact lasts forever. Your sickness is just a phase. Wealth is what truly matters. These piercing words from Ji-eun's mother cut through the silence of their cluttered living room, echoing like a thunderclap against the mundane yet tumultuous backdrop of their lives. Ji-eun, frail yet determined, sank deeper into her chair, the air thick with tension and unspoken resentment. Her mother, more concerned about societal status than her daughter's failing health, meticulously reviewed the statistics of financial investments instead of asking about her well-being. It was a stark illustration of the emotional chasm that had developed between them, a mother burying herself in the pursuit of wealth, while her daughter fought an invisible enemy. As the weeks unfolded, Ji-eun's struggles became more acute. Every dinner was a battleground of cold exchanges, her mother discussing potential business ventures with a fervor that seemed to outstrip her concern for her daughter's illness. "You should be working harder, Ji-eun. Your health will improve if you just focus on success," she insisted, her back turned towards Ji-eun, eyes glued to the latest market trends. Ji-eun felt the weight of those expectations pressing down. She was caught in a relentless storm, grappling with the pain of leukemia, while amidst the turmoil of a fractured family dynamic that drained her spirit. Days turned into weeks, and the dreariness of materialistic discussions filled the corners of their home, dulling any flicker of warmth or love. Each morning, as Ji-eun got ready for work, she would catch a glimpse of her mother in their large, ornate mirror, a reflection not just of her visage but of expectations, disappointment, and an ever-present demand for strength. A knot twisted in her stomach, not just from the illness but from the knowledge that she was fighting a battle in isolation. One evening, after yet another hollow conversation with her mother, Ji-eun found herself wandering through a nearby park. The lush green grass swayed gently in the late afternoon breeze, offering a brief respite from her reality. It was there that she met Yuna, an elderly woman with eyes that sparkled with life's wisdom. Sitting together on a shaded bench, Yuna shared stories of resilience, weaving threads of love and warmth through her words. "Life isn't measured by wealth. It's about who we let into our hearts. You need to let go of that burden." Yuna's soft voice melted Ji-eun's defenses. The unexpected kindness was a jolt to her system, drawing her out of the darkness that enveloped her home. Emboldened by this newfound friendship, Ji-eun began pulling away from her mother's suffocating expectations. When confronted with yet another lecture on financial success, she stood her ground. "Mom, I can't ignore my health anymore. I need to be honest with myself." The tension in the room thickened, a palpable mix of disbelief and anger radiating from her mother's expression. "Don't you want to be successful?" Her mother's voice trembled with incredulity, pointing a finger not just at Ji-eun but at the societal pressure that had shaped their lives. Ji-eun responded softly but firmly, "Success isn't just about wealth. I want to be happy and healthy first." The revelation hung in the air, a moment of vulnerability that both challenged and shattered her mother's beliefs. Yet the inevitability of their clash lingered, leaving scars on their relationship that threatened to deepen with every passing day. As Ji-eun continued her fight against leukemia, attending treatments with a renewed resolve, she found solace in Yuna's company, discovering joy in the little things, embracing her dreams of a life well lived, no matter how fleeting it may be. But one fateful day, a routine doctor visit revealed unexpected complications, sending her world into a tailspin. The nurse's somber tone echoed in her ears. "You will need to consider more aggressive treatments." In that moment, reality crashed down. Ji-eun's mind raced, filled with fear and uncertainty. Doubt slipped in, magnifying her mother's words in a haunting chorus. It was Yuna who, sensing her turmoil, gently reminded her of the strength she had within. "Don't let fear define you, dear. Fight for the love you deserve. not just the life you wish for. With Yuna's encouragement, she mustered the strength to confront her mother once more. "This isn't just about success," Ji-eun implored, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I need you to care about me, not what I can achieve for you." The vulnerability in her voice softened her mother's hardened exterior. Silence filled the room, broken only by Ji-eun's sobs. In an unexpected twist, her mother stepped forward, wrapping her arms around Ji-eun, breaking the long-held emotional distance between them. "I'm scared too," she whispered, revealing the fear that had previously driven her obsession with wealth. As they stood together, heartache and hope intertwined, Ji-eun felt a glimmer of understanding pass between them. It was a beginning, a chance to reshape their relationship, allowing love to blossom amid the darkest challenges. Ji-eun acknowledged the complexities of their connection, realizing that their journey forward would not be without its struggles, but perhaps now they could face them together. While the road ahead was fraught with uncertainty, Ji-eun embraced the idea of connection over success, leaving behind the suffocating weight of her mother's expectations. With Yuna's wisdom and her mother's newfound support, she felt a flicker of hope ignite within her soul. Acknowledging the love that had been overshadowed by greed opened a pathway to healing, both for Ji-eun and her mother. Their bond, once strained, now had the potential to flourish amidst the trials of life, fueled by the promise of love that was finally allowed to exist. Sometimes heroism means stepping into the unknown. This thought raced through Ji-eun's mind as she stood frozen, her heart pounding relentlessly against her chest. There, on the edge of a tall building, was Jun-ho, the powerful CEO known for his ruthless business tactics, a man who seemed impervious to the struggles of those beneath him. Today, however, he appeared fragile and ready to leap into the abyss. Before she could fully grasp the implications, instinct kicked in. Her feet moved without thought, propelled by a deep-seated need to save a life. "Don't do it!" she shouted, her voice trembling yet fierce as she rushed towards him. Time slowed, the wind whipping around her like a tempest as she reached out, her hand grasping at the sleeve of his tailored suit, pulling him back from the brink. In that dramatic moment, a blend of terror and heroism, Jun-ho turned to meet her gaze. The intensity of his dark eyes flickered with surprise, and for the first time, he saw the woman behind the quiet resilience. "What are you doing?" he demanded, stepping back from the edge but still shaken, uncertainty mingling with sheer awe at her audacity. Ji-eun, still breathless and shaken, could only respond, "You matter, even if you can't see it." That raw honesty kindled an inexplicable connection between the two, binding their disparate worlds and igniting a fragile spark neither of them had anticipated. In the days that followed, the dynamic between them began to transform. Jun-ho, now intrigued by Ji-eun's fearless spirit, found himself drawn to her. She had saved his life, but more importantly, her words lingered in his mind. During their unexpected encounters at the office, he noticed the quiet determination in her eyes, mirroring the very grit he admired in himself yet often lost amid corporate politics. They exchanged tense conversations that transitioned from professional banter to deeper discussions about purpose, pushing the boundaries of their previously segmented lives. Yet challenges arose when Ji-eun returned to work, where the undercurrents of hostility still ran deep, fueled by Min-ji and Seo-jun, who were relentless in their pursuit to undermine her. The moment Jun-ho's attention turned toward Ji-eun, whispers filled the air, tainting their interactions with suspicion. "What does he see in her?" Min-ji scoffed during a break, a calculated smirk on her face. "Just a moment of weakness for him, I'm sure." Those barbed comments stung deep, feeding Ji-eun's insecurities as the pressures of the corporate sharks circled closer. One afternoon, as Ji-eun hunched over her papers in a forgotten corner of the copious conference room, she overheard Jun-ho on a call, discussing layoffs and profit margins, the harsh realities of the business world echoing in her ears. An unexpected twist pierced her heart. Had Jun-ho, the man she had risked everything to save, already become consumed by the very machine that so effortlessly chewed through dreams? Feeling momentarily shattered, She retreated into herself, the weight of her illness pressing down harder than ever. Determined not to cave in, Ji-eun navigated through the office with renewed grit. The moment she faced Jun-ho later that day, she could no longer hold back. "I thought you wanted to change things," she said, her voice steady, yet filled with an edge of disappointment. "But you're letting the system dictate your choices." He paused, the sharpness of her words cutting through the corporate haze that often clouded his judgment. "Your brave act showed me the potential for change I long forgot," Jun-ho replied, allowing vulnerability to seep into his usually assertive demeanor. This emotional catharsis bloomed like fateful spring flowers as tension cracked under the weight of truth. They had emerged transformed from their struggles, shedding layers of pretense to reveal a shared goal that pulsed beneath the surface, a commitment to bring authenticity to their professional lives. With a sense of purpose stitching them closer together, they forged a path toward improvement within the company, setting up mentorship programs for junior employees who felt the pressure of unscrupulous competition. Ji-eun's compassionate nature paired with Jun-ho's business acumen created a blended force that empowered others and began to reshape corporate culture. However, as Ji-eun's health fluctuated, the indelible shadow of her illness loomed larger. One late night, as they finalized plans for an impending project, she leaned her head against the cool glass of the window, a weary sigh escaping her lips. "Have I made a difference, Jun-ho?" she asked quietly, her heart heavy with the impending reality of her condition. Jun-ho, ever the protector, turned to her, cupping her face delicately with his hands, sincerity pouring from his gaze. "You've changed my world. Your light shines brighter than you know." But the universe had a way of reminding them of life's fragility. A sudden trip to the emergency room revealed complications that made her hospital stays more frequent, pulling the threads of hope tighter around them. Faced with a whirlwind of emotions, Jun-ho became her anchor. He held her through the night, even as fear wrapped around them both. "We're in this together, Ji-eun," he promised with unwavering determination, his grip on her hand conveying a strength she desperately needed. Ultimately, while the future remained uncertain, Ji-eun and Jun-ho emerged with a deeper understanding of one another and the power of hope. Their journey had transformed from a life-threatening situation into a journey of healing, one that intertwined their lives in ways neither could have fathomed. The path ahead was still marred with difficulties, but together they faced it with courage, emboldened by the love and respect that flourished amidst the chaos. As the first rays of morning sunshine streamed through the hospital room window, Ji-eun opened her eyes to find Jun-ho right there beside her, ready to conquer the day together. No matter what tomorrow held, they had learned the power of connection, compassion, and the unyielding strength found in mutual support. And maybe, just maybe, that was more than enough. Sometimes the strongest bonds are forged in the fires of adversity. This thought echoed in Ji-eun's mind as she stood in her office, watching Jun-ho walk in with an air of confidence that contrasted sharply with her insecurities. Since that fateful day on the rooftop, where she had saved him from despair, their lives had intertwined in ways she never imagined. Despite the tumult of her illness lingering in the background, it was Jun-ho's support that ignited a flicker of hope within her, pushing her to believe in her own strength. As their friendship flourished, Jun-ho became a steadfast source of encouragement for Ji-eun. With every interaction, she found herself emerging from the shadows cast by her sabotage-prone colleagues, Min-ji and Seo-jun. Jun-ho would often lean over her desk, sharing insights about confidence and self-advocacy, urging her to speak up against the toxic dynamics at play. "You have to fight for your place here, Ji-eun," he insisted during a late work session, his tone a blend of kindness and urgency. Her heart raced. The thought of confronting her rivals felt daunting, but Jun-ho's unwavering belief in her ignited a spark of determination. Days turned into weeks, and as winter melted into spring, they found comfort in each other's presence. Whether sharing lunch beneath the cherry blossoms or collaborating late into the night on projects, their connection deepened, threading empathy through their contrasting worlds. Jun-ho was not just a powerful figure in the corporate landscape. He was a man who carried the weight of his own struggles, including a lingering sense of disconnection from the very ambition that had shaped his life. Ji-eun saw glimpses of this vulnerability, his quiet moments of reflection, pieces of him that belied his stoic exterior. However, the precarious balance of their growing friendship was disrupted one bleak afternoon when Ji-eun discovered incriminating evidence of corruption within the company, specifically involving a deal orchestrated by none other than Min-ji. Heart-pounding, she approached Jun-ho, who was deep in thought, contemplating new strategies for the upcoming financial quarter. "Jun-ho, you need to see this," she urged, her voice steady but urgent as she slid the documents across the table. The office suddenly felt smaller. Their previous light-hearted banter evaporated in the face of revelation. Jun-ho's expression shifted as he read through the files, eyes widening in disbelief. This could shake everything," he said, running a hand through his hair, revealing a crack in his composed demeanor. Fear clawed at, yet she realized that we have to do something. Ji-eun's newfound courage bolstered, and together they hatched a plan to investigate and combat the corruption, propelling them, their collaborative laced with the adrenaline of. In the shadows of spreadsheets and confidential emails, they unearthed secrets that sparked outrage, yet also brought them closer than ever. "We're not just fighting this for ourselves. Think of all the others we could protect," Ji-eun remarked one evening, her eyes ablaze with purpose. Jun-ho watched her, intrigued by the transformation inside her, a woman fighting not just for survival, but for the respect and integrity she deserved. Yet within him, doubt loomed heavy. He feared that exposing the truth could jeopardize the life Ji-eun was building against all odds. One evening, as they prepared their final presentation for the board, Ji-eun noticed a distant look in Jun-ho's eyes. "What's wrong?" she asked softly, sensing the shift in his demeanor. He hesitated, finally breaking the silence. "What if we're exposing something bigger than we can handle? What if it costs you your job, and even your health?" The gravity of his words hung in the air, and Ji-eun felt a surge of emotion. "But what if I do nothing? I cannot sit back and watch people suffer," she asserted, her voice unwavering as she grasped his hands tightly. In that moment, they recognized the fragile nature of their own fears, finding strength in one another. Jun-ho took a deep breath, nodding in understanding, his resolve solidifying. "You're right. Together, we can face whatever comes." With the promise of action binding them, they plunged into the storm ahead, armed with the courage born from their friendship. The presentation day arrived, a cacophony of anxiety and determination swirling in Ji-eun's stomach as they stood before the board. As Jun-ho began the report, Ji-eun watched him with admiration. The man she had once seen as a figure of strength was now a partner in this fight, her equal. They presented the evidence, the atmosphere crackling with tension as Min-ji's eyes darted nervously around the room. When it all unraveled, the board erupted in chaos, accusations flying, trust shattered. In that pivotal moment, Ji-eun felt her worries lift like a heavy fog banished by the dawn. Yet, their victory came at a price. Min-ji, cornered and desperate, retaliated with accusations of her own, attempting to frame Ji-eun for complicity. "You're just a pawn trying to rise above," she spat, venomous words that struck deep. The room fell silent, the weight of the moment almost unbearable. But Jun-ho stepped forward. "No. Ji-eun stood against me when I was lost. She saved my life. And now, together, we will not be silenced." His voice rang with conviction, shattering the doubts that lingered in their hearts. In the aftermath, victory was bittersweet. The corruption was exposed, but Ji-eun faced backlash that tested her resilience. Yet amid the storm, spaces of hope emerged. Jun-ho was there every step of the way, a steady hand in the chaos. They navigated the fallout together, their bond solidified in a shared mission. Ji-eun's struggles gave her new purpose, and with each challenge, her confidence grew. Over time, Ji-eun found herself not just surviving, but thriving. With Jun-ho by her side, she transformed setbacks into stepping stones toward her aspirations. Their collaboration, which began as a necessity, blossomed into a deep and enduring friendship, a testament to their growth and the power of support. They had discovered strength together, elevating one another beyond the confines of fear and doubt. As Ji-eun stood beneath the cherry blossoms, spring blossoms drifting around her, she understood the journey ahead would not always be easy. But with Junho at her side and the lessons learned through their trials, a world filled with possibility awaited them. Together, they transformed their hardships into stepping stones, each moment a new beginning, a testament to hope spilling across the horizon. Every heartbeat counts. But what happens when the clock is running out? This thought haunted Ji-eun as she sat at the cafe table, her fingers curled around a lukewarm cup of tea that seemed to embody her own fading vitality. The spring sun filtered through the branches of blossoming cherry trees outside, spotlighting the new life that surrounded her. Yet inside, she felt a growing void. Despite the joy that bloomed in her friendship with Junho, the toll of leukemia weighed heavily on her, casting a long shadow that even the brightest days could not dispel. As the weeks progressed, Ji-eun's energy dwindled, her laughter becoming quieter, her smiles more strained. Junho, aware of her declining health, offered support in every way he could, often catching her on bad days with soft reminders to take care of herself. "You can't pour from an empty cup, Ji-eun," he said one afternoon as they strolled through the park, his brows knitted together in concern. "You need to allow yourself to rest." Yet Ji-eun's determination to prove that she was more than her illness propelled her to work harder, despite the exhaustion creeping into her bones. She delved into her projects with fervor, each completed task a temporary escape from the reality of her condition. But the more she pushed, the more her health crumbled beneath the strain. With each meeting and every late-night report, she felt the fragile thread holding her together tauten, threatening to snap. Even when their conversations shifted to lighter topics, the air was laden with an unspoken tension. Junho often shared his own fears about failure, his serious demeanor underscoring the emotional weight he carried alongside his responsibilities. "What if I lose the company?" he confided one evening, his voice barely above a whisper. Ji-eun had always admired his ambition, but in that moment, she sensed a vulnerability that mirrored her own. "You won't lose it," she replied, her hand finding his across the table, infusing their shared silence with warmth. "Even if the worst happens, we'll figure it out together." One particularly striking night, as they perched on a rooftop watching the skyline shimmer under starlight, Ji-eun allowed herself a moment of honesty. "I'm scared, Junho," she admitted, her voice trembling against the cacophony of the city. "I'm scared of not being able to do the things I want. Travel, love, live fully. I know my body is failing me, and I don't know how to fight it." Tears glimmered in her eyes, reflecting the myriad of emotions swirling within her. "What if this is all I have left?" Junho turned to face her, capturing her gaze. "Then we live, Ji-eun. We live with the time we have and make every moment count." His words settled in the air, infused with an intensity that pressed against her heart, igniting a fire that had begun to dim. Overwhelmed by the gravity of their shared vulnerability, she felt a surge of determination rise within her. If this was all she had left, she would embrace it fully. But the reality of her health refused to remain dormant, manifesting one morning as Ji-eun staggered through her apartment, feeling dizzy, the world tilting perilously around her. Weakness gripped her, and in a moment of panic, she collapsed onto the floor. When Junho arrived later that day, he found her pale and gasping for breath. A surge of fear coursed through him as he rushed her to the hospital, every second feeling like an eternity while Ji-eun fought to remain conscious. "Stay with me, Ji-eun. You can't go anywhere." His heart raced as he held her hand, each reassuring squeeze igniting the fragile bond between them. In the hospital room, the harsh fluorescent lights seemed to mock Ji-eun's plight. As doctors rushed around her, she could see the worry etched on Junho's face, a reflection of her own fears. It dawned on her then that her struggle was not hers alone. It extended to those who cared for her deeply. She wanted to shield him from the pain. But somewhere amidst the chaos, she realized that vulnerability brought them closer, not farther apart. The emotional stakes surged as she was guided through treatment options that loomed large and uninviting. Junho took a deep breath, his voice steady. "Whatever you choose, I'm here. You're not alone in this." The weight of those words enveloped Ji-eun, granting her the courage to confront the reality ahead. "I want to fight, Junho," she whispered, determination sparking in her eyes. "But I need to be honest with you. I can't bear the thought of leaving you behind." That moment, raw and revealing, became the turning point in their journey. They shared fears, dreams, and the tender emotions that danced between life and loss, forging a bond stronger than either had ever anticipated. Junho vowed to be her unwavering support, reminding her that the importance of living extended beyond mere existence. It was about creating memories that would last a lifetime. After her release from the hospital, they embarked on small adventures, trips to scenic spots, late-night movie marathons, and interruptions of laughter. Each moment became a precious thread stitched into the tapestry of their relationship. Ji-eun felt herself loosening the chains of fear that had held her captive for so long. There was a beauty in living, even amid uncertainty. With every adventure, Ji-eun learned to embrace the fragile beauty of each breath. She could see now that the essence of life wasn't just the years lived, but the moments captured in laughter, love, and companionship, a tapestry of warmth buried deep in their shared experiences. As the cherry blossoms began to bloom again in the park, she grasped Junho's hand with newfound certainty, knowing that despite the looming shadows of her health, she was ready to write a story filled with hope and connection. The road ahead remained uncertain, but with Junho by her side, Ji-eun felt emboldened to face whatever lay in store. There was a chance, fragile yet beautiful, that they could traverse the intricacies of life together, creating a legacy of strength and enduring love, one heartbeat at a time. Sometimes the loudest pain is the silence that surrounds it. This thought brushed through Ji-eun's mind as she prepared for the upcoming company meeting, her heart racing with a mix of trepidation and resolve. Over the past few months, the weight of her illness and the sabotage by her colleagues, Min-ji and Seo-jun, have been suffocating. No longer willing to be a victim, Ji-eun had decided it was time to reclaim her voice, a decision that felt both terrifying and liberating. The conference room was abuzz when Ji-eun entered, the fluorescent lights casting a harsh glow over the sleek table where her colleagues gathered. Junho sat at the far end, his gaze steady, offering her a grounding presence amidst the storm. Ji-eun inhaled deeply, steeling herself against the judgmental stares she knew would come from Min-ji and Seo-jun. The air felt thick with unspoken challenges, but she was determined to break the silence that had paralyzed her for too long. As the meeting droned on, Ji-eun could feel the tension coiling tighter, anticipation building like a pressure cooker about to burst. When the moment to present finally arrived, she hesitated, glancing at Junho, who gave her an encouraging nod. With renewed purpose, she stood tall and directed her gaze toward the table, her heart thudding in her chest. "Before we proceed with today's agenda, there's something I need to address," she began, her voice steady despite the tremor within. Min-ji's smirk faltered, replaced by a look of cautious surprise. "What's wrong, Ji-eun? Feeling unwell again?" she shot back, veiling her condescension under false concern. Creating a crucial divide, Ji-eun pressed on. "Actually, I am ill. I am battling leukemia, and it's time I made that clear to everyone." Her revelations sliced through the oppressive atmosphere, leaving the room in stunned silence. She could see the surprise on the faces of her colleagues. Some looked shocked, while others whispered among themselves. Ji-eun continued. "But more importantly, I need to address some behavior that has made it harder for me to work here, particularly from certain individuals." The tension escalated, and she could almost hear the bolt of panic strike Min-ji and Seo-jun as they exchanged furtive glances. "How dare you drag personal matters into a professional setting?" Seo-jun snapped, attempting to regain control of the narrative. "You think that excuses your lack of productivity?" "No," Ji-eun replied, her voice rising with conviction. "What excuses your malicious behavior? The backhanded comments, the sabotage? You both tried to undermine my work, and it's time we put a stop to it." The surge of empowerment rushed through her veins, a thrilling exhilaration marking her voice as she disclosed the truth. Gradually, a palpable shift took hold in the room. Ji-eun's courage empowered some colleagues to lean in, murmuring uneasy agreement, while others shifted uncomfortably in their chairs. Jun-ho was still, his gaze unwavering. He understood the gravity of the moment. "No one should be subjected to this kind of treatment in the workplace," he interjected, his deep voice resonating through the tension. "We will not tolerate a toxic environment any longer." This united front only intensified the divide between Ji-eun and her antagonists, and Ji-eun could feel the rift widening as lasting respect for her grew among others in the meeting. As Minji's face flushed with anger, she shot back, "You're only saying this because you're desperate, Ji-eun. You should be ashamed." But Ji-eun stood firm, pushing back against the hurtful words. "You say shame, but it has taken me far too long to find my voice. I will not let you drown me out any longer. This is not just an illness for me. It's a life I intend to fight for. The courage to face our realities is the strength we all need to embrace." Suddenly, an unexpected and pregnant silence followed her declarations. Something shifted in the atmosphere. The collective unease morphed into admiration. People began to nod, some even speaking up in support. "She's right. It's not just about business. People matter too," a young man from across the room added, and murmurs of agreement rippled through the space. With Ji-eun's declaration, the dynamics within the company began to shift. It was clear that she had birthed a wave of camaraderie, sparking a new chapter for the team. The chill of animosity was slowly thawing, revealing a collective resolve to foster understanding and support. Yet amid this newfound solidarity, weighty questions hung in the air for Ji-eun. Could she sustain this momentum while battling her health and confronting the venomous hostility in Minji and Seo-jun? As the meeting drew to a close, Ji-eun felt a surge of mixed emotions, pride, fear, and uncertainty swirling together. She had claimed her ground, yet the path ahead would not be straightforward. In Jun-ho's gaze, however, she found a spark of hope. He approached her after the room emptied, the confidence in his stance grounding her frayed nerves. "I'm proud of you," he said quietly, sincerity flooding his voice. "You've shown incredible strength today. I couldn't have done it without your support," she breathed, feeling the warmth of gratitude suffuse her heart. "But I'm still scared. What if this leads to further backlash? Whatever comes, we'll face it together. You're not alone anymore, Ji-eun," he reassured her. And in that moment, Ji-eun understood the power of her truth, that in confronting her illness and the toxic forces around her, she had reclaimed her narrative. The road ahead was far from smooth, but it was paved with the threads of newfound strength and solidarity. Together, with unwavering hope and support, they would plot a course toward a brighter future, one revealing secret at a time. Sometimes, the hardest battles are waged in silence. For Ji-eun, the weight of this phrase sank deep into her heart as she and Jun-ho gathered evidence in dimly lit corners of the office. Their camaraderie had blossomed since they uncovered the corruption scheme within their company. Late nights had become a routine, fueled by determination and the flickering glow of computer screens. But with each passing day, the shadows of Ji-eun's illness loomed larger. The stark contrast between the blossoming connection they shared and the chaos surrounding them heightened Ji-eun's internal struggle. She could see Jun-ho's admiration for her bravery, but it came with a growing concern that twisted painfully in her chest. "We need to be prepared for backlash," he warned one evening, his brow furrowed as he reviewed their findings. "The people we're going against won't take this lightly." His words sent a shiver down her spine, perfectly encapsulating the uncertainty of their fight against the unethical practices plaguing their workplace. Yet as they worked side by side, celebrating small victories, the approving nod from a hesitant coworker, the promise of an ally, they also faced challenges that gradually chipped away at Ji-eun's resolve. One chilly evening, after hours of poring over documents that seemed to multiply before their eyes, Ji-eun leaned back in her chair, fatigue drawing a heavy curtain over her spirit. "Maybe this is too much for me," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Junho paused, looking up with concern etched across his face. "You're more capable than you know, Ji-eun. We're in this together." His words were a lifeline, albeit one tangled in emotion. As they reviewed the paperwork, their fingers brushed against each other, a fleeting moment that electrified the air between them. But as the affection grew, so did Ji-eun's health issues. The exhaustion from both her illness and the relentless work began to take its toll, manifesting in sharp pangs of weakness that left her breathless. The harder she pushed herself to keep pace, the more she felt the ground beneath her weakens. "Have you had anything to eat today?" Junho asked one afternoon, breaking the silence that had enveloped their tense planning session. Ji-eun shrugged it off, but he pressed, concern deepening in his tone. "You can't help anyone if you're in no shape to stand. Please, just take a break." As he handed her a snack from his backpack, their eyes met, and she felt a warmth that countered the chill of her fear. But with this camaraderie came the relentless question: would this friendship survive the onslaught they were facing? Soon thereafter, the situation worsened. During the weekly company meeting, rumors aroused unease in the air, speaking of contracts that concealed malfeasance. Junho's grip on the back of Ji-eun's chair tightened as he tried to gauge the atmosphere. Minji's eyes darted toward them, a predator sensing weakness. "I wouldn't get too comfortable if I were you," she sneered, delivering her quip in a voice devoid of genuine mirth. The moment crystallized for Ji-eun as her heart raced. The walls seemed to close in, pushing her doubts to the forefront as she faced the prospect of resistance in their fight for justice. What if Minji used their attempt to expose the wrongdoings against them? What if her health declined further, leaving her unable to withstand the pain that plagued her even now? The weight of these unwelcome thoughts threatened to drown her. But just as despair clawed at her insides, Junho grasped her shoulder reassuringly. "Whatever happens, we'll stand firm, won't we? We've come too far to turn back now." As they built their case, they discovered a twist that linked Minji to the corruption they sought to expose. Staring at the mounting evidence one evening, they shared a heavy realization. With every finding, the danger increased. It solidified their purpose, but also placed an oppressive burden on Ji-eun's shoulders. The stakes had never felt more daunting. "Ji-eun, if it gets too overwhelming, we can pull back," Junho suggested gently, gauging her weariness. But the stubborn flicker of resolve ignited within her. "No, we can't back down now. I cannot let them win. This is for everyone, not just for me." Days melted into nights, and before long, the end of their investigation loomed before them, leading to the presentation of their findings. Anxiety flickered in Ji-eun's chest as raindrops cascaded against the window of their shared workspace, obscuring the view outside. It was there, in that moment of vulnerability, that she felt the storm begin to whip at her spirit. "What if I'm not strong enough for this final push?" she mused, her voice quaking. "Ji-eun, listen to me," Junho began, taking her hands in his. Her heart raced at the warmth of their connection. "I believe in you, and the team believes in us. You've done incredible things already. Whatever happens, you won't face this alone." In that moment, their unspoken bond solidified amidst the chaos. Ji-eun couldn't help but smile, a fragile smile, yes, but one buoyed by the hope of their shared dream. However, as they approached the moment to disclose their findings, the dark clouds of anxiety brewed just beyond the horizon, threatening to unleash their fury. The stakes were high, and everything lay in the balance. Yet in Junho's unwavering gaze, Ji-eun found strength. She would fight not only for herself but for the future they dreamed of, a future where integrity reigned and the shadows of deceit were cast aside. Together, they would step into the storm, united in purpose, ready to face the unpredictable path ahead, their hearts tethered by mutual support and hope. Sometimes love feels like a fleeting shadow, there one moment and gone the next. For Ji-eun, the reality of her illness loomed heavily in her chest, threatening to steal the light from her moments of joy. With the daily pressures of her battle against leukemia intertwined with workplace challenges, It was the little moments spent with Junho that became her sanctuary. As their friendship blossomed into something deeper, she found herself embracing these stolen hours of happiness amidst the chaos. One particular evening, after an exhausting day filled with meetings and uncertainty about her health, Ji-eun found herself at her favorite lakeside spot, the moonlight shimmering on the water. Junho had insisted they take a break from their ongoing investigation into the company's corruption. A welcome reprieve she didn't know she desperately needed. "Why don't we grab some takeout and just enjoy the night?" he suggested with a boyish grin. The idea sparked a warmth within her, and she nodded, allowing the weighted cloud above her head to lift, even for a few hours. As they settled on a blanket, the delicious scent of food wafting in the air, Ji-eun watched Junho as he animatedly recounted stories from his childhood that made her laugh. Despite the flickering anxiety in her heart, his humor melted away her fears, if only temporarily. She playfully nudged him, their shoulders brushing, the moment lingering between them like a secret waiting to be shared. The chemistry pulsed quietly, leaving her heart racing in tandem with the rhythmic lapping of the water against the shore. Just as she felt herself letting go, a wave of fatigue washed over her, and she leaned back against the blanket. Junho turned, his expression shifting from carefree delight to gentle concern. "Are you all right?" he asked softly, reaching out to smooth a strand of hair behind her ear. That simple gesture ignited a warmth in her chest, and Ji-eun hesitated, allowing vulnerability to seep into the silence. "I'm just scared," she confessed, her voice barely a whisper, the fear of what lay ahead cracking the surface. "Every day is a battle. I wish I could be stronger for you. For us." A rush of honesty poured out of her, the weight of her emotions crashing like waves against a rocky shore. Junho's gaze softened, and he moved closer, the space between them dissolving. "You're fighting a battle I can't imagine, Ji-eun, but you're stronger than you realize. I'm really proud of how far you've come." He paused, searching her eyes. "And I want to be here for you, through everything." In that moment, Ji-eun felt something shift. The air between them crackled with unspoken words. Junho leaned closer, his voice low and earnest. "I know it's not easy to talk about feelings when the future seems so uncertain, but I need to tell you something." Heart racing, Ji-eun held her breath as he continued. "I've tried to ignore it, but I can't any longer. I care about you, Ji-eun, more than I thought possible. I love you." The confession hung heavy in the space around them, the truth threading through the night like stars breaking free from clouds. Ji-eun's heart raced at his admission, a soft smile breaking onto her face, illuminated by the moonlight. "Junho," she breathed, emotions tangling in her chest. She could feel the warmth of his affection, a flickering light pushing back against the clouds of doubt that hung over her. But just as joy blossomed, a rusty chain of fear gripped her heart. What did love mean in a world fraught with uncertainty? "I don't know what tomorrow holds for me," she admitted, searching his eyes for understanding. "What if I—" Her voice faltered, and she struggled to frame the words that lingered just beyond her reach. He placed a finger over her lips, silencing her fears with a gentle touch. "Whatever tomorrow brings, we will face it together," he vowed, his eyes unwavering. "I won't let you face any of it alone." His sincerity wrapped around her like a warm blanket, diluting her fears. In that moment under the stars, their bond felt indomitable, as if time had secured a promise of love in the face of adversity. As days melted into weeks, their relationship flourished alongside their fight against the corruption within the company. They became a team, balancing their roles as both partners in love and partners in pursuit of justice. Late nights turned into shared laughter, and Ji-eun found strength in Junho that fortified her spirit against the daily battles. They celebrated each small victory, gaining the support of allies who began to trust in their cause, even as Ji-eun's health remained precarious. However, as the darkness of uncertainty loomed closer, Ji-eun often found herself staring into the abyss of her prognosis. In moments of quiet desperation, she would watch Junho as he strategized, the lines of concern etched into his brow. Each soft touch and reassuring smile he bestowed upon her filled her heart, yet deep inside, anxiety gnawed at her resolve. She wished more than anything to protect him from the heartache that loomed. One fateful afternoon, Ji-eun received alarming news from her doctor. "We need to discuss your treatment plan. The current regimen isn't yielding the expected results." The words echoed in her mind, fueling her fears as she realized how little time they had together. When she finally met Junho later, she could hardly contain the weight of her anxieties. "I don't know how much longer, how much more I can endure," she said, tears threatening to spill as her voice cracked. In that moment of fragility, Junho took her hands, anchoring her with his fierce intensity. "You can do this, Ji-eun. You are not just your illness, and that doesn't define our moments together. We will find a new way to fight. You're my inspiration, and I will be here for every step of the journey." The comfort in his words nourished her spirit, reigniting the flicker of hope that had begun to dim. Facing the unknown together filled her with a sense of purpose, even amid the looming shadows of doubt. Together, they would forge their path, hand in hand against whatever storms lay ahead. With each passing day, Ji-eun learned to embrace the beauty of every fleeting moment, weaving laughter, love, and resolve into the fabric of their lives. And she would not let fear dictate their story. Instead, she would carry the warmth of Junho's heart as her guiding light, grounding herself in the love that had blossomed amidst the complications of life. Life is too fragile to let love slip away. These words echoed in Junho's mind as he stood in the soft glow of the sunset, contemplating a moment that would change everything. The chaos of life had brought him to this point, where his heart grappled with a profound truth. Time was a treasure they could not afford to waste. Ji-eun, his fierce partner in love and battle against sickness, sat nearby, her fragile figure silhouetted against the fading light. The weight of their struggles hung heavy in the air, and it was time to lay bare his heart. The months had flown by in a whirlwind of late-night research, countless appointments, and emotional upheaval. Ji-eun's health had become a precarious tightrope walk, one step away from the abyss. Yet it was in these moments of uncertainty that their connection deepened, revealing an unexpected strength that bound them together. From their playful banter to tender glances, every interaction bridged the gap between fear and love. They had learned to find solace in the simplest of actions, cooking together, watching sunsets, sharing laughter even in tears. Yet as autumn descended, bringing with it crisper air and golden leaves, Ji-eun's health began to falter again, shadows encroaching upon their daily moments of joy. One evening, after a harrowing visit to the doctor, Ji-eun returned home defeated, her energy sapped by the weight of grim news. "I just wish," she started, her voice trailing off as she struggled to maintain her composure. "You wish for what, Ji-eun?" Junho encouraged gently, not wanting to push her but knowing that speaking would help. She sighed, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I want to hope, but it feels so much harder with every step." Holding her close, Junho rested his chin on top of her head, feeling her vulnerability seep into his own skin, binding him to her fears. "Then let me carry that hope for us. Whatever comes, we can face it together." He felt her nod against him, yet he also sensed the fragility of that promise hanging in the air. It was a reminder of the ticking clock they both felt. As days turned into weeks, the narrative of their lives took an unexpected turn. Junho was captivated by Ji-eun's resilient spirit, even as health complications threatened to steal her light. In the warmth of their love, he recognized the urgency of his feelings. If ever there was a time for widening their emotional bond, it was now. One quiet evening, with the stars scattered bright above them, as if even the universe conspired to hold time still, he grasped Ji-eun's hands. "Ji-eun," he began, feeling the flutter of vulnerability tighten his chest. "There is something I need to ask you." Her eyes widened, and in the stillness, the world seemed to fade away. She could sense the weight of his words, the gravity of the moment poised on the precipice of something beautiful, yet daunting. "What is it?" With a steady breath, he forged ahead, his heart pounding against his ribs. Life is unpredictable, but my desire to share whatever time we have left together, it has never felt more certain to me. Ji-un, will you marry me? Tears filled her eyes, shimmering like stars reflecting the very essence of their struggle and joy. The raw honesty in his confession struck a chord deep in her heart, igniting all the love she had for him. Junho, She hesitated, realizing the weight of the moment. His hand trembled slightly as it remained in hers, his brow furrowing with uncertainty. Please don't say no. I just think of everything we've been through, he urged, his voice a mix of hope and desperation. I want to promise you forever, whatever that looks like, because you are worth every moment. A rush of emotion flooded through Ji-un as she absorbed his words, the fears that had once chained her heart beginning to dissolve. This was bigger than uncertainty. It was a testament to the love they had built. Balance surged within her, a fierce determination ignited by his vulnerability. Yes, she whispered, tears spilling over like cherished memories, underscoring their shared journey. Yes, I'll marry you. In that beautiful stillness, they held each other tighter, their hearts beating as one against the storm of reality. Junho embraced her, feeling the warmth of her acceptance wrap around them, though the bittersweet nature of their circumstances remained a lingering echo. The promise of a wedding now filled their hearts, not an escape from their struggles, but a celebration of the love that flourished even in the depths of uncertainty. As they began to plan their wedding amid swirling commitments, they found joy in simple things, picking out flowers, mapping out their future, and laughing about wedding ideas. The ceremony became more than just a union. It was a pledge of resilience, love, and togetherness amidst an unpredictable world. On the day of their wedding, with soft music filling the air, Ji-un walked down the aisle adorned in a delicate gown, the sunlight filtering through the trees, bathing her in a warm glow. Junho stood waiting at the end, his heart racing as he took in the beauty of her smile. In that moment, the reality of their love transcended the challenges they faced, creating a tableau of hope that resonated with everyone present. Their vows, infused with honesty and emotion, echoed through the serene space. I promise to cherish you, to support you through hardships, and to love you fiercely. Junho's words rang true, a declaration forged from every shared battle. As Ji-un spoke, I choose you, despite the uncertainty. You've brought color into my gray days, and for that, I will always hold you dear. A chorus of applause erupted, yet it paled in comparison to the warmth blossoming within them. In the embrace of each other's arms, Ji-un and Junho found an unshakable sense of purpose, that their love could weather any storm. The exchanges of rings were not merely symbols of commitment, but a vow to navigate the twists of fate hand in hand, fostering hope amidst despair. As they stepped into their future, Junho and Ji-un remained acutely aware of the winding road ahead, confident that together they could confront whatever life offered. Amid the uncertainty, they perfected the art of embracing the now. Each fleeting moment they had together was a testament to their unyielding love, a flicker of joy in the shadows, reminding them that amidst chaos, they had chosen each other. Love is a delicate dance between hope and heartache. On a day that should have been purely blissful, Ji-un stood at the threshold of transformation, her frail figure draped in a gown that glimmered softly under gentle sunlight. As she glanced down the aisle, anticipation mingled with anxiety swirled in her heart. Today wasn't just a celebration of love. It was a poignant reminder of everything she had fought against, the illness that threatened to cast a shadow over her union with Junho. Surrounded by family and friends, each face radiated warmth yet reflected the weight of the reality they all faced. Her mother's smile was strained, and Ji-un could almost hear the silent prayers murmured for health and longevity that hung in the air. Each step down the aisle echoed her journey, a delicate balance of joy and sorrow, weaving through her dreams against a backdrop of uncertainty. The ceremony unfolded seamlessly, yet the undercurrent of Ji-un's illness was palpable. As family members delivered heartfelt speeches, their words painted a vivid picture of Ji-eun's spirit and resilience, celebrating moments of laughter that had punctuated her battle against the disease. Her closest friend recounted memories that traveled back years, each story wrapped in emotion that made the guests laugh and weep, celebrating the duality of hope and fear that permeated the day. The reverberating sentiments around them illuminated the core of Ji-eun and Junho's love story, a journey woven through adversity and triumph. As Junho stood at the altar, he couldn't help but admire Ji-eun. Her courage in facing uncertainty was awe-inspiring. He had seen her fight not just for herself, but for their shared dreams, and as he took her hands into his, he felt a rush of overwhelming affection. When the time came to exchange their vows, the air thickened with emotion. Ji-eun's voice trembled lightly as she spoke. "With every part of me, I promise to love you and cherish every moment we share, no matter what the future holds." Each word pulsed with sincerity, capturing the reality of their situation, an acknowledgement of the fragile yet unbreakable bond they shared. And then, it was Junho's turn. "You are my light in the darkest times. I will fight beside you and give you all my strength. I choose you, today and every day after." His vow erupted from his heart, cutting through the tension in the air like a warm embrace. As his deep voice echoed in the hushed space, Ji-eun felt tears brim in her eyes, a beautiful mix of gratitude and vulnerability washing over her. With rings exchanged and promises made, they shared a kiss that solidified their commitment amidst the surrounding whispers of uncertainty. The moment encapsulated everything they had forged together, the laughter, the struggles, and the love that lay as the cornerstone of their lives. Yet as the cheers erupted and the warmth of celebration enveloped them, Ji-eun felt a pang of fear ripple through her heart. Glancing at her loved ones, she noticed the glimmers of concern amidst the joy. The gravity of her condition weighed heavily, and she couldn't escape the reality that danced in the back of her mind. How long would they have together? As their reception commenced, conversations flowed with laughter, yet Ji-eun found herself drawn into a side room, needing a moment to breathe. The soft music from the main hall faded, leaving her alone with her thoughts. Just then, Junho found her, a mixture of concern and love etched on his features. "Ji-eun, are you okay?" She managed to smile, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "I just need a moment. All of this is overwhelming." He took a step closer, enveloping her in his embrace, grounding her in shared warmth. "You don't have to pretend you're fine. Just remember that whatever you're feeling, I'm right here," he whispered soothingly, his breath brushing against her ear. The sincerity of his love broke through her defenses, and tears streamed down her cheeks, pooling against his shoulder. What if we don't have as much time as we hoped?" Junho pulled back slightly, cupping her face in his hands. "We can't know exactly how much time we have, but what matters is now. We will make every second count. You've taught me to embrace each moment with you." With that, she felt a shift within, a fortifying reminder that life could still unfold beautifully amid the unknowns. Stepping back into the open space, Ji-eun found solace in the dance of celebration surrounding them. It was an embrace of love, the intertwining of their lives, forging paths of joy, even when shadows lingered. As the evening drew to a close, Ji-eun and Junho shared laughter with friends, joy brightening moments of vulnerability, weaving together the threads of their love story. They twirled together on the dance floor, drawing warmth from the enveloping community around them. Each swaying motion echoed with the promise they shared, a testament to resilience carved against uncertain times. With every heartbeat, every shared smile, hope flickered amidst the gathering clouds. And as their love story unfolded in breathtaking fashion, Ji-eun realized that while the road remained uncertain, she would face it hand in hand with Junho, two souls intertwined, committed to cherish every fleeting moment they had been gifted. Love is both a gift and a burden, especially when time feels like it's slipping away. As Ji-eun lay curled up under the soft sheets of their shared bed, her breaths were labored yet peaceful, ravaged by the progression of her illness. The wedding that had once marked a joyous new beginning was now tainted with the shadows of doubt and fear that haunted them both. Junho, nestled beside her, watched intently, fighting back the tension that pulsed beneath the surface. Every moment they spent together was a mixture of laughter and painful acknowledgement that time was no longer on their side. Days turned into weeks since they said their vows, and while promises were exchanged in the exuberance of celebration, reality now wrapped itself around Ji-eun like an unwelcome fog. She tried to maintain a facade of normalcy, cooking late-night meals or watching their favorite shows, moments when fleeting laughter filled the void that the sickness tried to claim. Yet each small smile carried the weight of unspoken fears. Junho, attuned to the subtle shifts in her energy, always made sure to ease the burdens that threatened to overwhelm her. "Let's go for a walk today," he suggested one bright afternoon, hoping to coax some outdoor joy back into Ji-eun's spirit. The sunlight spilled golden rays across the park where they strolled, hand in hand, reminiscent of the carefree days before her health took center stage. As they ambled by blooming cherry blossom trees, Junho pointed to the vibrant petals that danced in the breeze. "Look how beautiful they are, just like us." Ji-eun smiled, though beneath it lay the unmistakable undertow of gloom. "They're beautiful now," she replied softly, "but they'll fall soon enough." Her gaze was transfixed on the petals drifting down like snow. The beauty of their impermanence struck a chord deep within her. The bittersweet truth settled between them like a silent acknowledgement of what lay ahead. As the weeks progressed, Junho poured all his love into caring for Ji-eun while suppressing his own fears. He read to her, helping keep her spirits high, sharing stories of their past adventures, which sparked joy amidst the uncertainty. But as she grew weaker, their cheerful exchanges turned into whispered confessions of dreams and unfulfilled moments. "Remember when we talked about traveling the world together?" Ji-eun murmured one night, her voice barely above a whisper, fatigue evident in her eyes. "We still can, Ji-eun. There's a special place waiting for us in our hearts," Junho replied, holding her hand tighter, feeling the warmth slip away. Yet he could see the hesitation flicker in her eyes, the fear that pooled beneath. "It feels impossible now," she confessed, tears brimming at the corners of her eyes. "What if I can't make it to the places we dreamed of?" "Then we create our adventures here," Junho said, blinking back his own tears, refusing to let the weight of despair shatter the last flickers of hope. "Even in these moments, we can build something beautiful." As days crystallized into a poignant reflection of love and loss, Ji-eun's condition took a turn for the worse, culminating in a hospital visit where uncertainty blanketed them like a heavy fog. Doctors hemmed and hawed, delivering news wrapped in clinical language that blurred the line between prognosis and possibility. Junho remained steadfast, absorbing every word, an unyielding presence at Ji-eun's side. The emotional toll seeped into his thoughts, where he wrestled with the limit of his love and the harsh reality of their situation. "Please come back to me," he whispered late one night, sitting by her bedside, his heart aching with longing for the woman who brought light into his life. In that vulnerable silence, Ji-eun resolved to embrace every joyous moment, each rather fragile second. As they shared whispered dreams and soft laughter, she felt a profound love intertwining with her fears, beautiful and terrifying all at once. They forged a pact silent yet resilient, uniting them in ways words could not express. The emotional farewell Ji-eun prepared for began to unfold when she saw the sunsets in the sky bleed into hues that whispered of finality. One quiet evening, while Junho traced patterns on her hand, she turned to him, needing to express her truth. "I don't want you to be lost without me," she murmured, heart heavy with sorrow. Junho looked into her eyes, his gaze unwavering. "I promise that you'll never truly be gone, Ji-eun. You're a part of me. We're forever woven together." Those powerful words wrapped around her heart, soothing the raw edges of anticipatory grief. In that emotional melting pot of vulnerability, they shared a final embrace that would encapsulate a lifetime of love, dreams, and sheer determination to live fully in the time they had left. In their joint journey to one last outing under the cherry blossoms where they once laughed and dreamed, Ji-eun laid her head against his shoulder, feeling the gentle rhythm of his heartbeat, a melody of comfort. "Let's make this last," she whispered, a faint smile illuminating her face. "I will cherish every second, forever and always," Junho replied, determination shining through the veil of uncertainty. On that peaceful afternoon, as the world around them sprang to life, Ji-eun felt surrounded by love, a balm against the struggles they both faced. Though time may be slipping away, the love they cultivated would withstand even the relentless passage of days. In every whispered goodbye, every fleeting moment of joy, they found strength to redefine the landscape of their journey together. A testament that love, in its purest form, endures, even against the strongest tides of fate. Loss can take many forms, but love endures beyond the shadows. The hospital room was dimly lit, a frail Ji-eun resting comfortably against her pillows, surrounded by soft beeping machines that measured her breaths. Junho held her hand, feeling the delicate warmth slip away, his heart heavy with a fear that loomed larger than the sterile walls around them. They had fought together against her illness, but now, the reality of her condition was unmistakable. As they both knew, time had slipped through their fingers like grains of sand. Each passing hour became a poignant reminder of their love, of promises made and dreams shared. The couple had battled the tides of adversity together. Now, they faced the ultimate challenge. Occasionally, Ji-eun would muster the strength to share a fleeting smile, her spirit lighting up the room, even as her body weakened. "Junho," she whispered one evening, her voice a fragile thread, "promise me you won't let my fight go in vain." Her eyes sparkled with a mixture of hope and concern, a testament to their shared journey. "Of course, Ji-eun." "I promise," Junho replied, his throat tight. The weight of her request hung between them, pressing down heavily as he tried to appear strong. Just as he was about to reassure her that they would navigate whatever lay ahead together, Ji-eun closed her eyes, a wave of exhaustion washing over her. Days turned into nights, and the hospital became a cycle of emotional ups and downs, punctuated by fleeting glimpses of warmth and affection. One fateful morning, Junho was awoken by the sound of hushed doctors' voices just outside the room, his heart pounding as dread filled him. When he entered, he found Ji-eun lying peacefully, an otherworldly calm enveloping her. The beeping machines became soft whispers in his ears, and in that surreal moment, he realized it was all coming to an unbearable conclusion. With gentle urgency, he rushed to her side, squeezing her hand, but the life he fought to cling to was slipping like water through his fingers. "Ji-eun, please wake up," he pleaded, his voice thick with tears. "Don't go, not now." But no response came. The world around him faded, and Junho felt the warmth leave Ji-eun's hand. He held her tighter, a desperate grasp against inevitable finality. Through the suffocating fog of loss, he found himself enveloped in a powerful wave of heartbreak as his love drifted away peacefully. In the aftermath of her passing, a hollow silence haunted Junho, reverberating through the echoes of their love. Friends and family gathered to grieve, sharing memories that wove the fabric of Ji-eun's vibrant spirit. But he felt detached, lost in an ocean of sorrow that threatened to engulf him. Each day was a reminder of her absence, each morning filled with the wistful desire to turn time back. The stark reality of his grief clashed against their remaining unfinished business. Ji-eun had left him with a promise, a call to action that resonated deep within him. In the dim light of their home, amidst the remnants of shared moments, trinkets from trips, framed photos capturing their laughter, he found his resolve. Days turned into weeks, and Junho came to understand that he needed to channel his grief into purpose. As he pored over documents related to the corruption they had fought together, a renewed determination surged through him. He refused to let Ji-eun's fight fade amidst the quagmire of deceit they had uncovered. "You're not leaving me behind," he murmured to the empty chair at their dining table. his heart aching yet steadied by purpose. On a new day filled with potential, he gathered the courage to confront the corrupt officials that Ji-eun had once feared. Junho formulated a plan to expose the unethical practices underlying their company, reaching out to the allies they had rallied during their investigation. The sounds of phones ringing and meetings being drafted filled the air, certainty blooming in his chest, a testament to Ji-eun's unwavering spirit that lived on within him. As tensions mounted, Junho presented evidence of the corruption at a company-wide meeting, fueled by the passion he had for Ji-eun and the dreams they had shared. The faces around him, those he once thought were indifferent, now showed signs of rekindled hope. This is not just about profits or losses. This is about integrity, respect, and the lives overshadowed by greed, he implored, his voice steady and resolute. Ji-eun taught me that change starts with courage. His words struck a chord, invigorating the room. Junho became a beacon of strength not only for himself but also for others who had faced similar struggles in silence. What started as a deeply personal journey transformed into a movement that inspired others to step forward and fight back against the injustices plaguing their workplace. By embracing Ji-eun's memory, Junho discovered strength he never knew he possessed. Each step brought him closer to honoring her legacy, one that was steeped in love, resilience, and integrity. He found comfort amidst the chaos, feeling Ji-eun's spirit guide him, reminding him that although she was gone, their shared dream lived on as a force to be reckoned with. In this pursuit of change, he carried her laughter, whispered promises and dreams into the world. While sorrow would always accompany him, he learned to embrace the duality of love and loss. Junho forged ahead, determined to make a difference, continually inspired by the love they had cultivated and the life they had fought for together. In every step forward, Ji-eun's spirit lived on, woven into the very fabric of hope he now nurtured on his journey. What did you think of this emotional story? Do you believe love can transform even the hardest moments? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.